Hey everybody, this is Brad Bruce and I am here with
Jase Marsiglia.
and you're listening to the 5195 podcast.
Once again,
Well, after begging and pleading,
pleading.
can you please come back? And he said no. And we begged more. And we begged more. He came back. We actually got Alfonso Curio on
Cuarón.
Cuarón on the show.
Cuarón. I wanted to ask him about the prisoner of Azkaban. America's funniest Azkaban.
No, Jonny Ramaglia is back.
Yes, sir.
I'm back.
Thank God. Because we
it
really
is.
had to make up for last
Because
time.
it's
We
sweeps
fucked up.
week.
Because we fucked up. So I did right out the gate had a question for you because you asked a question and just set off a downward spiral of calamity.
Yeah. It happens.
What's your guilty pleasure?
I think that my guilty pleasure, probably viewed from an outsider, because we're talking about guilty pleasure show,
Yeah.
is Frasier.
Oh, really?
You know, what's funny? I am a diehard Cheers guy, and I own every episode.
Don't
Seen
say
every
you don't
episode.
like Frasier.
It's not that I don't like it. I just never really gave it a shot.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
And now
Okay.
it's on like a reboot.
Yeah, it's back.
You know,
right?
it's
Are
back.
you
It
is-
watching the back stuff?
I did watch the back stuff. It got canceled.
Did it? Oh.
Yeah, it
That
did.
was fast.
2 seasons.
2 seasons. And we were just I was telling him the other day about Night Court having a reboot and me thinking, is that audience still here? And it's in like its 4th or 5th year now, which
Yeah,
surprised
yes, it
the
is.
shit out of me.
Wow.
I would have
Yeah.
thought Frasier was a lock.
So what was it about Frasier?
Okay, so what it is about Frasier to me is like, okay, from the outsider, what surprised me when I was younger, because I actually used to watch it when I watched the first episode when it aired.
Mhm.
But again, that was during a time period where I'm like at the mercy of what my grandparents are watching.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They watch Cheers.
Yeah.
I watched some Cheers, but I didn't give a shit. No disrespect to Cheers, but I wanted to go do some shit outside. I didn't give a shit, honestly. I remember I was in 5th grade when the final episode was coming on, and like some classmates were talking about it. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, why do you really care though? You're fucking 11. Okay.
He's not wrong. I
know,
even
it's
said
just
like
funny.
I related to Cheers somehow, and I'm not a barfly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was just funny. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was funny though. I like the banter and like the little, when they get at each other's throats and shit. But for Frasier, the thing that was weird is because they're such pompous, yuppie douchebags,
Mm-hmm.
but they nail it so well, and it's just so fucking ridiculous. And yeah, the physical comedy that Niles does,
Oh yeah.
coupled with Frasier's like self-sabotaging,
Mm.
overthinking, and psychiatric bullshit, and like I don't know, it just works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the dynamic with the dad, who's just like an actual guy's guy,
Yes.
and
Who cannot relate to either child.
no, he
at
can't
all.
fucking relate to either one.
He's got his dog. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
the shit they get into, and the little self-contained lessons that happen in each episode, I think they just work year after year, and
Yeah.
I think that's what helped that show. It was for the longest time. It was I don't know if it still is, but it was the most successful spinoff ever.
I think so.
No shit.
Because I
Yeah.
think its longevity, I think it matched Cheers.
Wow.
Yeah,
And now has probably exceeded it if you count the reboot.
Mhm.
yeah. So
Because-
the reboot, I liked it for the nostalgic aspect for it.
Sure.
But it's they weren't in that same tight spot, and they didn't get everybody back. Some
Okay.
people are no longer with us,
Sure.
you
Right.
know, and I get that. But
Who all didn't come back who was still with us?
well, the only people that we did get back was Frasier, and then you had a little cameo from Roz,
Okay.
who was his producer
Right.
in the original show. But the show was based around his son, and like the grown up
Mhm.
Frederick.
Was Lilith in it?
She did make an appearance.
Okay.
How could she not, right?
Right.
Of course
She
she's
has
going to
to.
be on
Yeah.
board.
Okay.
And I always thought she was hot.
We just had this conversation, man.
I said
She was hot.
on Cheers, the two hottest girls I thought were Leah Remini and then BB Newworth.
Yep.
Were the two hottest girls on there. I think she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when the hair comes down.
It's almost like you listen to episodes that haven't aired.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm glad we're all on the same page.
We are on the same page.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my guilty. I'm sure there's a couple others.
I don't know if you would get shit for that.
I wouldn't, but I could give you one that I should probably deserve shit for it. And I know there's somebody else in this room who sits in the same boat as me. I didn't finish this show, but I did go balls deep enough to call it a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
It's Riverdale.
Oh, yeah, I've heard. Okay.
Now, it's like a fucking 40-year-old man watching Riverdale. It's some like,
pretty teens with problems.
yeah. I mean, you kidding me? What the fuck do I have in common with these kids?
Right. As a kid, you're like, you're not a fucking barfly. Why are you watching Cheers?
I
And
know.
Now you're an adult and you're like, I'm not in high school
I'm
anymore.
not a cheerleader.
What the fuck am I doing? What a fucking hypocrite.
Yep.
At least as an adult, you have retrospect. As a kid, you're like, what do you aspire to be a drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Do you watch Ted Danson
It
and think I'm just gonna fuck every woman that comes into my bar?
Yeah.
It was like, did you watch the new Riverdale? Yeah, I fucking did watch the new Riverdale. Did you? Yeah, I did watch
That
it.
was a test. Give me your man card.
It's like,
Yeah.
we're...
Yeah, exactly.
But you're right. You know what? And it's funny because I just had this conversation with my daughter because I was like, you know what? I had to fucking bail with all the witchcraft, weird shit. I was like, you know what? Stop. Even David Lynch was like, what are you doing? Fucking calm down. Now you're just robbing me.
Because it was
Yeah.
like Twin Peaks.
It was.
Oh,
And
they were so ripping it off.
They
They
were.
ripped off anything they could,
They did.
but they knew what they were doing, and
Yeah.
that was the part of the cheese of
Yeah.
it.
I mean, because those first few seasons were good, man.
They were good for
really
what it
good.
was. It was
Yeah.
a really good, like, teen fucking nighttime soap,
Yeah,
basically.
it really was. Have you ever caught any of them?
No,
No.
But my question to you is,
No, we're not gay.
I know you got a thing for Jughead. Archie, when did Archie become so dark? Because Archie comics, weren't they just stupid, goofy?
They were classic 40s, 50s
right. but
Americana comics.
at some point now they're solving
You know what?
mysteries like Scooby-Doo.
I think that's the last maybe decade and a half where that's happened.
Because Riverdale,
even the comics before Riverdale, it was like Archie versus the undead.
Oh, I've seen Archie versus Predator. I was just kind of like, where the fuck has this gone?
Yeah.
And then like when Riverdale came out, just the vibe I was getting off of like promos and posters and shit, I'm like, has Archie just always been this dark? And
No, it has not.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
it hasn't.
I could see that. And, I never read any of the Archies, so I had the joy of going into it without any attachment to being
Sure.
a purist of it. So
No, me too. I mean, I knew of an aesthetic that seemed to dramatically change.
It did.
it was dark visually.
And
was.
it was just kind of like, okay, so
Yeah.
should I, if I were to get into Archie, do I start with the dark Archie? And because that seems more my thing, but no, I never watched that. I did, however, with my wife, get into, at least for a couple
Caveat, I'm not gay. My wife was there.
Well, no, it was, she was watching it and I kind of fell into it because I didn't want to see it. I didn't like the promos or anything, but Vampire Diaries,
Okay.
which was on the WB or
Okay.
CW, whatever. And
Get
the
out
thing
of my head.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've been down the same road.
Okay, so here's the thing.
With his wife.
It
With
came
my
out-
wife.
It came out around the same time as Twilight. And I'm like, this is just Twilight, the TV show then. I brushed it off.
Okay.
I was up one night, I don't know if I was reading or doing something, and she was watching it, and I would hear things, and I'd look, and I'd be like, that's pretty dark. Or that got kind of violent. And it was like, okay, so this is obviously not Twilight, even though there's that pretty boy aspect about it. I did a little digging, and I'm like, it's Kevin Williamson. Fucking Scream. I'm like, it's Scream with vampires. That's what it is. It's clever dialogue.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah.
Lots of
I feel
violence.
that. A lot of violence.
And it was just one of those deals where I did get pulled in for a few seasons, but then I bailed because at some point I was like, it is getting to be too soap because characters would die and then come back as something else, or an evil twin would come out of the woodwork. And I'm like, now it's just getting stupid. Now this is daytime.
Yeah.
But it was like for a good 3-4 years, I was all about it. I'm like, hey, what night's this coming on? I'll pop some popcorn,
Yeah.
But it was like,
And how many seasons was this shit?
I don't know how long.
I think there was
on.
like 9.
It was on for a
Wow.
while.
I
Yeah.
stuck it out. I watched
Yeah,
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not while it aired. I don't think
No.
that it came into my life until COVID.
Oh, okay.
You know
Okay.
how that is. You're
Yeah.
in the abyss, and that just opens up. Fuck it, I'll watch anything.
Yeah. No, I was with it for a good few years, and then
That's crazy. I was watching the Wu-Tang Saga and you were watching Vampire Diaries
Yeah.
during COVID.
Yeah. So
He's
I
like,
watched the whole fucking show and got so deep into that show, like, you know how it is. When you're fucking just back to back, fiending it.
yeah.
Then they have all these spin-offs. Now I'm starting to watching these fucking things.
I was gonna say I never did get into the originals. I think it was called.
I started it.
Yeah.
That one didn't hold me, but
No.
and actually neither of them did. There was some other one, but it was like
Oh,
an
really?
even younger generation. I'm like, this is where I draw the line.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Jeez.
But it was funny because I did write it off as just Twilight the TV show, and then I'm seeing people getting staked and blood and spraying.
Was this daytime, nighttime?
No, it was like a primetime show. I think
Yeah.
I think it might have been butted up against like Supernatural,
Okay.
because they were both in the same network.
Yeah.
So you had kind of like a 2-hour block of paranormal teen stuff,
Interesting.
And Supernatural was one I never got into, which I want to.
Yeah.
Because I hear nothing but good things. I heard it's great. But yeah, Vampire Diaries was a shock.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, no wonder I'm digging it. It's Kevin Williamson. He does good shit. So I thought that was pretty funny.
The formula, it works.
It did.
Works. As corny as certain parts are.
And it was dark. And what was funny was when I'm sitting with my wife, I'll see someone who's been in like all these horror movies and I go, oh, I fucking love this actress. And she's like, who's she? And I'm like, oh, like Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh, wow.
It was like people I was recognizing were popping up. And I'm
Yeah.
like, boy, this show's got something for me all the time.
No
So it was
shit.
kind of funny.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll definitely not watch that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
no.
Give it another 10
I
years.
just, stick to the Golden Girls.
Hey, man, that show was fucking rad.
I-
Say what you want. You didn't watch it, huh?
No, never watched.
Crazy.
I mean, I'd watch an episode or two here and there, but it just never grabbed me. I actually got more into Maude.
I bet you did.
I got Maude. And then there's Maude.
Why? Because of Adrienne?
No, I just liked it.
Really?
Yeah. Adrienne it was funny to go back and go, oh yeah, Adrienne Barbeau. But I liked Maude. I liked, okay, who's the slutty golden girl? Blanche?
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was on Maude as well.
Yeah.
And she was fucking hilarious. I don't think Betty was.
I don't know.
No, Betty was on, was it the Mary Tyler Moore show? But
I like how he said he watched a couple episodes, but he knew who the slutty golden girl was
Yeah.
I
by
don't know.
name.
I did. I figured it out. Well, Amanda's got Funko Pop. She
Were you
loves
more
that
of a
show.
designing women?
I got nothing against Annie Potts, especially in her prime.
Hey, even right now.
Young Sheldon?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hottest grandma on television.
Definitely.
That's a sleeper show to me. See, I would have
is.
never thought that I would enjoy that show.
Yes.
Here's what's funny. I do not like the Big,
Big
Bang
Bang
Theory.
Theory.
I don't. I don't find it funny, and I hate Sheldon. I think he's the most annoying character. I really just never cared for it. My kid got into Young Sheldon, and I liked that one. And what's funny is I like it for everyone but Sheldon, because he's still annoying. He's less annoying because he's a kid, and it's not Parsons. Is that his name?
Yeah.
But I love Grandma. I love Georgie. I love the sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all the side characters on that show make it for me. It's just I couldn't get into the other one. It's one of the few, like you mentioned, the spinoffs that
Yeah.
work.
Isn't it funny how that is though? Like, I would agree with you. I actually recently just started watching Big Bang because of Young Sheldon,
Okay.
and I like it. But God, man, Sheldon is so difficult to deal with, right?
That's the thing. I'm like, I don't have the patience for Sheldon.
That,
Yeah.
We got to realize, though, that's the point.
Which
I know that's the point.
thing. I, under,
No,
I
he's
understand.
nailing it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm like, but I don't think I connect with the other characters enough to be able to tolerate it.
Really?
Yeah. So I've never found it
Wow.
funny. But then obviously you've got Kaylee on there who's wonderful eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, even that's not enough for me to tune in
Gotcha.
every week. Whereas Young Sheldon, it's not even a laugh track sitcom.
This is crazy. Like,
You know what I mean?
you want to know how big of a fan I am? I have signed scripts.
From which Big Bang?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like,
Wow.
lots of them. Like,
Cool.
No
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
And how did you acquire those?
They were gifts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they didn't do cons or anything?
No.
Okay.
I didn't start watching that show until 2 months ago.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're a brand new Big
I'm
Bang
brand
Yeah,
new.
but it's
Yeah.
cool the way you did it though. You're kind of like a retroactive going back because now you
Yeah.
know who Sheldon is, his upbringing,
Yeah.
like, his whole. That's actually kind
Yeah,
of cool.
definitely.
Because I was like kind of a day one guy with Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
It was actually something that like me and my ex used to watch all the time. It was like we
Okay.
made it a point to like watch this shit because it was really funny. And then when COVID hit, we bought the series and just blasted through all of it
Yeah.
because it was like that was literally the time to watch anything and everything.
If you wanted to get
Yeah.
caught up on shit,
that COVID was
really
it.
did it.
Yeah,
For you.
no, it really did. Yeah.
No, that's funny.
And
No,
I liked it because it was, it was fucking nerds and it was like comic book store they were always going to. You know, it was just fun. You know, and I
Yeah.
just dug. Of course, I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm not smart, but it's like
Right,
I know
you know.
dumb shit. I know toys and comics. You know, so I related to that.
That was the thing. There was a lot of elements about it that people were like, "I'm surprised you don't like it."
I am surprised,
But
that
it was
you don't
just
like it
I couldn't. The humor just didn't grab me. I just
because
didn't find it funny.
there's good things to look at, and I do think it's written well. I really do.
It probably
I feel
is.
like everyone is doing exactly what they need to do for the characters.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, like it's a good core group of friends that, you know, they're not jocks. They're, you know, they're
No.
timid. You know, they're meek.
They're the outcasts.
Yeah, you know, so they handle situations the way you think they would.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I like about it. And it is one of the, even they're like, when there are these chicks that are hot that are associated with them, they're almost kind of like, I can't believe it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a,
You know, it's
Yeah,
funny.
they know that they keep it real.
Yeah,
Chuck
they do.
Lorre show, right?
Yes.
That explains the hot chicks.
Yeah, totally.
He's got a Rolodex from 2.5 minutes
Yeah.
to go through. But no, I never got into it, but I did use it as a joke a lot where every spring when I want to get rid of followers on Instagram, I'm like, I'm doing some spring cleaning, watch this. And I would put, fuck the Big Bang Theory. And then I'd sit back and go, watch my numbers dip.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why he wouldn't like it, because that's right from the show. Like that's. Just,
Are you serious?
No, but I'm saying like
Yeah,
that's
that is the kind of thing.
That type of
kind of thing.
stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's funny. Yeah, I don't know why I got into one, not the other. But they are two very different shows.
they are. Two
Yeah, they
different
feel
shows.
way different.
Yeah, they are.
Because I actually, young Sheldon felt a little more, I don't want to say like the Goldberg.
I knew you were gonna say Goldberg's. I should have said it.
Well, Goldberg's is too extreme. You know what I mean?
I know.
But it's like
Goldberg's is teetering on Naked Gun.
that's the thing. And that's the thing. It's like, but they're both non-laugh track
Yeah.
dramedies because young Sheldon goes to some pretty sad places sometimes.
Right.
And
Were
it's
you
not-
a Goldberg's fan?
I didn't get into that one. I
No?
watched a couple episodes and then just nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, again, it was that whole '80s
Yeah.
connection.
I'll
you
get
know?
to it.
Yeah,
Well,
I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
That
I didn't
and-
dislike it.
Like you said, the Naked Gun type of aspect where the comedy is very broad.
Yes, exactly.
And it was like, yeah, this is a good stupid way to kill 20 minutes. You know what I mean? It was funny to me.
Well, do you ever
Yeah.
like use like Pluto or anything like that?
I don't.
Really?
You
I
should.
don't.
What a trove.
Because I mean, I'm like creature of habit, one trick pony, man. I love Gunsmoke. I love Three's Company, and these
Yeah.
fuckers have their own channel.
Yes.
What was I watching Gunsmoke on then? Is it on Peacock too or Paramount or
I
something?
don't know.
Because
Oh,
I
that's a
was
good question.
watching it.
That's a good question.
Maybe I
Yeah.
was watching it on Pluto.
You
but
might have
that
been.
might have been the only
Yeah.
thing I was going to.
Yeah, you
'cause
might have been.
Pluto, I mean, they recycle channels here and there. They get rid of them and bring new ones in. But
They have staples.
yeah, the
Uh-huh.
Gunsmoke channel, the Three's Company channel, Adam's Family channel.
Okay.
A lot of these have been there for a long time.
I mean, they have like a Mystery Science Theater
Yes.
channel.
Oh damn.
I'm usually stuck
And it's just
on-
free.
Yeah.
no,
it's-
no commercials.
No, there's
It's ads. There's
Yeah.
commercials, but it's like it's worth it
yeah.
because it's like TV. You know, you're watching TV, so there's commercials anyway.
Yeah.
I'm
but-
usually stuck on the Forensic Files channel.
Yeah,
I usually just put that on for the noise.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
They have an Unsolved Mysteries channel.
I do that one too.
Yeah.
You know.
In fact, I was watching it before I flew out
Yeah.
because that's what me and you got on that talk about Faces of Death 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was like,
That-
Oh
Look,
my
that-
god.
it looks like,
Speaking of Faces of Death, real quick.
Yeah.
I was at some oddities show a couple weeks ago
Ooh.
in Del Mar,
Okay.
cool.
and somebody had a few VHSs of Faces of Deaths. Like they had like 3 and 4, but I could just by looking at the guy and the way he was talking to people and the way he was dressed and the way he was carrying himself, I didn't even want to bother asking him. How
He
much
was
wanted
married
for
to him.
Well, he wanted just a fucking ungodly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He was
Yeah.
completely married to
Oh,
these
yeah.
things, and he's holding
Yeah.
them on this pedestal. And
Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah, where it's
Yeah.
it's almost kind of gross.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I might have paid
Yeah.
$20 and got all 4 of them.
Yeah,
He only had 2,
Yeah.
and it wasn't 1 and 2.
yeah,
Right.
which would have been
That I would have maybe questioned, be like, what do you want for these?
Yeah.
What are you looking to get?
yeah.
You know, like
3 and 4. That's kind of like.
Yeah.
I need to finish the collection, so I'll get
Yeah,
'em.
exactly.
I'll
Yeah.
get them.
Kind of how I feel about 5 and 6, where I'm like,
Yeah,
they'll look good next to each other.
Yeah.
They're not really.
no,
Yeah.
not part of the series.
Which even
Yeah.
mine, I'm sure the reason mine were so cheap is because they were like the reboxed,
Okay.
the purple boxes. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
with
talking
the
about?
drawings with the
Yes.
skeletons on them, like the
Yep.
yeah,
They all
okay.
look kind of similar.
yeah,
It wasn't like the big
and the
box.
spines make the picture.
No, nope.
Yeah, the ones I have, the spines make a picture.
I would have liked that one.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Because
yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
box set, I think.
Yes, that was the box set.
Mine, they were individual, but they were all same kind of binding.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I think I got that for like my 13th or 14th birthday.
hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of a weird kid. So,
You're 13 now. Time to face your mortality.
well, I mean, remember I was watching it when I first got here. You know,
Oh, yeah.
that was one of the first things I had watched as a kid
Oh,
was
yeah.
Faces of Death.
First time I saw Faces of Death, I was a bus boy in Del Mar at this place called Stuffed Pizza.
Yeah.
And so this, when was this? It was like 97, maybe.
Okay.
And so what would happen there is like, I'd show up and, this was all just like skateboarding, and that's how you relate to people when you
Right.
got nothing else.
Yeah.
And they're like, so this older cat, I don't even know how old this guy was, but he was like maybe 5 or 6 years older than me. So early to mid 20s, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, man, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you roll over my pad and watch this Faces of Death shit? And I'm like, cool, man. I don't know what that is, but I'm down. So I go over there, and this guy like starts packing me these like loads of some super strong weed, right?
Yeah.
It's a school night for Johnny. And, we already like grinded out a night at this restaurant. And this guy just gets me so baked, right? Where I'm like fucking in between here and the next dimension. And now this shit's on, right?
Oh,
but I got so
boy.
high that like I fell asleep to it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I fell asleep. Like the last thing I remember was like the monkey,
Okay,
getting,
yeah.
getting his
Yeah.
dome beat in. I don't even know which one that is.
One.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, at first I liked it because a lot of these skate videos at the time for XYZ, which was a company that was big like in the late 90s, like in Carlsbad,
Mhm.
based out of there, it was one of Danny Way's companies.
Okay.
In his skate videos, they would always have like crazy fucked up footage that is like, kind of like Faces of Death shit, but
sure, that's
a lot of
wild.
Evil Knievel footage and like,
Okay.
just things of all that. People doing gnarly shit,
Yeah.
but having it fail and like turning
Oh,
it,
yeah.
catastrophe type stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of racing stuff and
That's
Yeah.
tough.
yeah, but I remember passing out and like waking up super baked. He's like, yeah, dude, well, it's like 3 a.m, man. You probably want to take off, right?
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm out of here, bro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So it's not even a
It's-
memory.
It's
You don't remember
It's
the
a dream thing. I don't know
Yeah.
if I made half the shit up or not.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
the monkey restaurant that checks. I can
Yeah.
tell you that was legit.
Have you seen it since?
No.
Really?
Yeah. Probably seen like bits and pieces, but I've never
Okay.
like sat down and
Do you know how
watched it.
funny that commentary would be?
Yes, that would be funny.
Just bring in Johnny and be like,
And we
"All right,
watch Faces of Death.
We're watching Faces of Death for
I would be down for that.
legit now.
Yeah.
I would do it.
Because it's cool. It's. I want to say, yeah, I was gonna say it's fucking cool, but it is. It's cool. It's a cool movie.
It's a good movie.
It
It's,
is.
It's definitely a time capsule movie.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it is. Especially when you know the backstory of this film and what really went on behind the scenes and like the craziness.
Mhm.
Because I mean, this guy and myself are invested.
Well, yeah.
You know, this actually dates back to when we had the store and we were at the mall.
Yeah, because you trying to. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
And like we were working out details and we wanted to write a movie and all this shit.
Yeah.
And, and it's like we were trying to reach out to widows and, all kinds of crazy shit. And it's like, it actually, it happened, like,
Right.
like the conversation bore fruit and, there's a script there,
Yeah.
and what I think is probably one of the most amazing scripts I've ever read in my life.
Well, that I appreciate that.
Yeah, like because it's
Nice.
because like I said, that movie means a lot to me, and it's weird. It's a beyond just the faces of death. It's
Yeah.
Beyond the controversy.
yeah, it takes me to a certain place in my life, that was special to me, and it really reminds me. This is so fucking crazy, but it's like it involves my brother and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like some good times. And so that's when we were talking about it, and I told him, I was like, no, this movie is actually really important to me. I know the movie inside and out for specific reasons.
Yeah.
That just made it even more intimidating to me when I put pen to paper. I knew you were a fan, but I didn't know it meant something.
Yeah, no, it was.
So it was like, by the time I put the end on the last page, I'm like, this is either going to be really good or really fucking bad.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, we'll definitely have to send it to you so you can read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's fucking, it is. I love it. I hope that it gets made.
That'd be
honestly.
cool.
That would be rad.
It's,
It's just another one in the chamber, homie.
yeah, no.
But you know what,
exactly.
too? Like, when that stuff first came out, that shit was hard to come by.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of, and I know you guys have already, you've had episodes where you kind of go over some of this, like, Mondo shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even this, regardless, if you to have like a physical copy of something like that in that time period, like
Mhm.
pre-internet, like this is wild shit to have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's as
Totally.
valuable as
was-
finding
It was
a
taboo.
fucking porno mag in the woods that didn't have
Absolutely.
pages stuck together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. No,
Yep.
for sure. I mean, and I was the guy as a kid who had the copy, and it did get around. Like, I mean, like I said, we had gotten in trouble from parents because like kids were like, I don't want to watch this. And they're calling their parents, and it's like,
All like sleepovers. And
yeah, like I would bust that shit out, and like most of the friends were like cool with it. I had a couple that were scared. I mean, like I said, I had one episode, I was like, I had a friend that was scared and freaked out over Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bro, come on, are you fucking serious? But
Yeah.
I understand Faces of Death. Stand By Me is fucking weird. But
Yeah.
I get the Faces of Death thing because
Stand By Me is just heavy.
it is. It
You
is.
know,
It's
just a heavy
real
thing.
emotion shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, a Faces of Death was like, especially for what it was.
Faces of Death
You-
was a rite of passage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I
yes.
mean, for the most people who are just like surface with the movie, they look at it and they're just like, oh my God, that's insane. Every frame is fucking nuts. But it's like, well, no, like there's a lot of like production value in there. There's a lot of like special effects. There's straight up fake shit.
Yeah.
Oh, and
You
it
know,
even
that
says
was
if
produced.
if you watch the credits to the very end, they literally say in the fine print, much of this film has been recreated
Yeah.
based on actual events.
Yeah. But the thing is back in the day, no one's watching credits. So
No.
they tuck it in there real
Yeah.
small, and they're
Yeah,
just
that's
like
right.
It's
sending
there.
it out there hoping people think it's
They were
real.
always honest
Yeah.
with you.
But it worked because look, I mean, it basically got fucking banned everywhere.
It got banned everywhere, and I could tell you from experience that I have argued with people who have said this or that is real. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's not.
Absolutely not.
I was like, I know exactly how they made it. And I'm like, there's scenes where if I put it on in front of him, I'd be like, that guy that you're swearing is dead. You're going to see him again later. he's just an actor that they recycled or
right.
something.
Yeah.
And it was one of those deals where the effects and production value of its time are so good that we're still debating it to this day with people who
Well,
are
yeah.
like, oh yeah, that movie was 100%.
But you know what would kill that
Hmm.
is if they put that shit out on 4K.
And
True.
they have, I think.
True. No, I don't
Haven't
think it's
they?
on 4K yet. It's on Blu-ray.
Oh, it is
And
on Blu-ray.
Blu-ray has started the process of killing it.
I could
Now,
see
if
that.
it was a Blu-ray, I think it would completely be over.
the 30th anniversary that came
That's
out.
the Blu-ray.
It's probably the cleanest it's ever looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see
Such a
this-
bad idea.
It is. It really is.
It is because nothing tops that VHS.
And you know what?
experience.
And I'm going to be honest with you, and this is where you and I differ,
Okay.
because I feel like there are certain movies that don't need to be on Blu-ray
I
because
couldn't
I
agree
feel
more.
like they're sort of letting you peek behind the curtain of how the trick was done.
Just because it's so clean.
Because it's so clean, you see, lines of like, prosthetics,
Sure.
just certain things that were never meant to be seen because you want to see them in a certain lighting. You want to see them with a certain grain.
Well,
Like Faces, like not Faces of Death, but like Dawn of the Dead. Watching
sure.
Dawn of the Dead on the Blu-ray, like on a nice TV, it's just like, fuck, this looks like an after-school special.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I love Dawn of the Dead so
know you do.
much, like, so I'm like, you know what? No, I'll watch the VHS.
Well, here's what's funny though. I personally, sometimes I wish I was a fucking producer of this shit, but movies like Evil Dead, Faces of Death, Texas Chainsaw 1, there should be an option to watch cleaned up 4K version, old school full frame VHS version.
And it's totally doable.
How hard would that be? You know what I mean?
It's just a matter
why
of
not?
placing a file.
Yeah, and it's
Definitely.
the only genre that really lends itself to that is the horror one, because no one ever watches fucking Police Academy and goes, this looked a lot better when it was a little scuffed up.
Exactly.
Horror movies, the scuffed up ratty versions that we watched added to it. And Faces of Death, for that matter, being a quote unquote found footage movie in a way, sort of, no one really looks at it that way, but that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
The dingier it looked, the more you were convinced that what you were seeing was
Oh,
real,
yeah.
regardless of production value. or
Absolutely. I mean, it's
whatever.
like that monkey scene in Faces of Death on Blu-ray. When they cut to the dead monkey, it's just like, oh my God, looks like a fucking Beanie Baby.
it's a rubber head. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
bad.
But it's like, watch it, the old VHS. Because I've seen a couple that have that. I think it might be Guinea Pig 2,
Okay.
the infamous one.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I'm talking about?
You watch fucking crazy.
I do. I do watch a lot of fucked up shit. But
Damn.
Guinea Pig 2, which I believe is the one Charlie Sheen turned into the feds. That's how that one got its infamy. I think as an Easter egg, you have to find it in the menu. You got to do some trickery. You can watch the VHS quality version. And I was like, that's fucking genius.
I mean, it is cool.
Because, yeah, you can polish something too much.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
You know what I
But
mean?
yeah, like, and again, there should be a choice.
That would be great.
Should be a choice, because I think of it like this. Okay, they made this movie whatever year it was made, right? They knew where the bar was that they had to get to.
Yeah.
So they met that bar. So the magic worked for that.
For that
But then you
capsule.
fucking raise the bar, and now the magic doesn't work.
Yep.
But there's some, you take something like Creepshow or Suspiria, where the color palettes are so striking and they look amazing in 4K, where it, the polish actually works.
Yeah.
But those are Hollywood pictures, whereas the little indie stuff, the grimy, nasty shit, sometimes those get better editions anyway than the
Right.
studio films. Why not just throw in, maybe even as a limited edition, throw in an extra disc and it's like VHS cut. You know what I mean? Like, how fucking cool would that be? I think it would be a rad idea if more people did that.
I think so.
Because there's stuff out there like Cannibal Holocaust.
Here he goes again.
I know. there's literally Cannibal Holocaust. You hit play and it'll say animal friendly version.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it chops out all the actual animal mutilation.
Right.
And it's like, if you could put both versions of a movie on something, why not have fun with it and put a VHS cut?
And they could do it because, Mist, black and white,
Oh, yeah.
color
yeah,
version.
Absolutely.
See, now if they put out a 4K version of Last House on the Left, the original one, you would know she never bit his dick off.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I got to come up with a horrible title. What is it? August?
August Underground.
There you go.
There you go.
There
Yeah.
you go. Did you watch those?
Yes.
Jesus.
Well, I only have the first two, which is, I know, more than enough. But those are not cleaned up at all. Like, those look as dingy and ratty as they are.
They should.
Yeah. No,
I don't even own those. I've never owned them.
I'm not going to recommend them.
Yeah, no, of course not. Of course not.
Literally watch those out of pure morbid curiosity because they are so notorious.
That would have to be a very, very morbid curiosity.
Never heard
Yeah.
of them.
Really?
Yeah.
And enlighten Mr. Ramaglia
what
what
is
these
this?
are.
Is it worth it? I don't
Yes, it is.
Okay. They're basically found footage movies shot on VHS of a couple of guys who filmed their exploits of going out and causing trouble, picking fights, blah, blah, blah. They go home, and in the nasty basement, they've got someone who's been tied up, naked, raped, and mutilated. And,
Okay.
you know, it's got, the quality is so bad
Yeah.
that it feels like you stumbled onto a snuff tape.
Right.
And the effects, the director, I'm not even going to say the guy's name.
Thank you for that.
Because I'm probably going to say some shit like Don Knotts. So instead of fucking up the guy's name, he came from Savini's school. Like, he learned effects first
Okay.
and then said, I'm going to parlay this into making a film. So he approaches these films from a special effects perspective.
Gotcha.
So the effects are really fucking
He's
gross.
trying to showcase his art
Yes.
in through that vein. Yeah.
Yes. And at that, extremely well done. Like, you know, and the other sick thing, he, you know, there's parts where, you know, he'll actually vomit on screen. Like, he'll be hacking up a body in the tub and then turn around and actually vomit all over the place. And it's like, it's not stage vomit. He's like actually making himself vomit. And it's just one of those things where the gritty realism of it all is really off-putting.
That's not acting.
It's not acting, yeah. And that's what's fucked up about it, is you watch it and you're like, why am I subjecting myself to this? This is so fucking nasty.
See, that's the crazy thing though. I get it though. Like, if you're him, right?
Yeah.
It's all about like, how can I make it crazier next time? How
Yeah.
can I make it crazier next time? The next thing you know, he's fucking, you know, he's vomiting, and then he's got like a fucking housing unit and he's shitting on top of it.
Exactly.
I can see his fucking asshole open up.
Yeah.
Fucking shit come out.
I think we found the writer for part 3.
Yeah, exactly. But no, they're sick movies. But yeah, I think they were just put out by Unearthed Films. And they're on Blu-ray. I think they're multiple disc sets. Lots
Which
of bonus
ones do you
features.
guys? Just the DVD?
No, it's the Blu-rays.
Oh.
I think the DVDs come with it. I think they're combo sets.
Oh, okay.
But loaded with bonus features, behind the scenes, all this shit. But the movies themselves are like VHS quality. Like, they didn't do anything to clean them up.
I mean, do you think a cleanup would really just make them laughable?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because there's a haziness to VHS,
Mhm.
shot on VHS,
Yeah.
that definitely conceals a lot of the, we'll call them the zipper and the monster suit.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Hell yeah.
so it's I don't know how you could clean it up properly. You know, almost like Blair Witch to a lesser degree. There's a grit to that film grain.
Right.
It's like 16 millimeter or something like that, that you're never going to be able
Yeah,
to,
that's the way it works.
you're never going to
Yeah.
be able to spit polish that to make
Yeah.
it look like
Yeah.
a pristine 4K movie.
I
You know, you could upscale it, but
mean, I'm sure they tried.
Blair Witch will probably always look like Blair Witch.
Yeah.
You know, whereas
Which I like Blair Witch.
I do too. No, I do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, something like August Underground, I'm not even sure the director would want his work touched that way. I think that's why it works the way it does for so many people, is because it looks like something you found,
Yeah.
you know, under
And that's
a
what's so
house.
gross about it. Because like I've never
That's the thing. They're
seen
not.
the full movie. It's just clips.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, what the fuck are we doing here?
It's
why
really
does
bad.
this exist?
No,
It
it's-
doesn't.
It is really bad.
I mean, again, this is the guy that watches Gummo. So, I mean, like, I'm not.
Yeah, no. And I can't say I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I don't really like it. But I watched it because it was like, oh God, this is one of those movies.
Well, this is, you said it's rite of passage shit.
It's rite of
like-
passage. It you know, whether Rue Morgue or Fangoria, there's always some horror movie iceberg that this thing shows up on.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, if you really want to see something fucked up,
Yeah.
this one. And I was like, yeah, I kind of want to see something fucked up. What's this all about? And I will say the second one was 10 times worse, if you could believe it. So
I imagine that.
yeah, and it
10
was
times worse.
it really was one of those deals where halfway through the second one, I was just kind of like, where do we go from here?
You know, like
What the
these rite of
fuck?
passage things like this, like something, you know, some crazy film video short that you feel like you have to endure, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something on a primal level for us, the viewer, the person, the human, the self, where it gives you an opportunity to see what your secret self
Yes.
is about.
Yes.
You know, like, or your shadow side, you put it
Mhm.
another way, you know, and like, you know, everybody's got a specific brand, and that brand might sway from a, you know, a wider spectrum to a more narrow one and only land in certain places, you know, like, I think it's that that's what's interesting about this stuff, and that's probably one of those extra forces that keeps them alive year after year, decade after decade, no matter what new technology there is and how it comes out, you know?
Sure. Yep.
I buy that.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
no, because you and I've had this talk before where every now and again I'll hop on Reddit and I'll see a fucked up video and I'm like, wow, that really affected me, and I'm kind of glad for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you do reach a certain level of desensitization. Even with August Underground, it was like, if this doesn't make me sick, does that make me a bad person?
Right.
Because it is just cinema.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've reached a point in our lives where we ate, drink, and breathe horror for so long that we're tough nuts to crack.
For sure.
It's very hard to scare us. You could get us to jump,
Yeah.
but something that you're going to lie awake in bed at night and stare at the ceiling like, I can't believe what I just watched. That was fucked up.
Man,
It never happened.
I don't think I've ever been that way. I've been scared enough, like I said, to turn something off for a minute because I was like, whoa, that's too much. Holy shit. And I shut it off.
I've done that where I've paused a movie and kind of walked away from it for a while and then came back and finished it.
You?
I haven't done that, but I've been so blown away where I may have paused it just to be like, damn, I am impressed with how gnarly this is.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, it's like that
So it's
kind of
still-
breathtaking,
yeah.
like,
still kind of a moment to
fucking
collect
A.
yourself.
Yeah, it had to take a moment.
You
Yeah.
still had to hit pause.
Yeah, I had to hit
Yeah.
pause and be like,
I have to collect myself.
Yeah.
okay, dude, buckle in.
Yeah.
Here we go.
No, I did that with, the only movie I've ever done that with was Irreversible from 2002 or 3.
Okay.
And it's a French movie with Monica Bellucci. And the movie, it goes in reverse. Starts at the end, works its way backwards. And it starts with these two guys raging through Paris looking for a specific person. Have you seen him? Have you seen him? I got to kick this guy's ass, blah, blah, blah. And immediately you're like, the fuck happened? You know what I mean? You know you're going to find out eventually as the movie progresses backwards. But then they find this guy in an underground gay nightclub.
Mhm.
And they beat the guy senseless, and there's a shot. All of these are a series of one-shotters.
Mm.
So it's fluid, it never stops. And
I know where you're going with this.
yes, the fire extinguisher.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
No, but you've showed me the fire extinguisher scene.
And for 20-something years ago,
Yeah.
that's fucked.
Yeah.
It was some of the nastiest effects I've ever seen because they blended an actual dummy head being hit with a fire extinguisher and augmented it with CGI to where the guy's face is still moving and blinking,
Yeah. Wow.
but he's being hit to the point where each time it hits,
It's caving him in.
it's more caved in.
Yeah.
It's pretty vicious.
It's really vicious. And when you're not expecting it, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. And it was a
Yeah.
level of vicious I had not seen before. Now we see it in like Walking Dead.
right.
You know, someone will bludgeon a zombie until his head's, fucking
Oh,
meatloaf.
gaping hole. And
Yeah,
it's
but
Yeah, but
leaking out.
it's
20
a zombie. They're not humanized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Exactly.
a monster.
So
This wasn't a monster.
this
Like,
was a guy, and you're just seeing teeth fall out and eyes hanging
Yeah.
out, and it looks as real as it probably could. And then it goes back further, and you're like, yeah, that was the part I had to pause it because I'm like, when it was done, I was like, holy fuck, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as it goes back further, you come to find out that they were looking for the guy who brutally raped one of their girlfriends, which was Monica Bellucci. And the rape scene is a 10-minute uninterrupted rape scene that ends with him smashing her face into the pavement over and over. And every time her head comes up,
It's more pancake.
more pancake. And it was like another
Flapjack, if you will.
incredibly vicious
Flapjacky.
moment. Yeah. Monica damaged who she...
Damn.
wow.
But it was so bad that I was just like, this movie really fucked me up for a couple of days. And then it got worse as you went further because because it went backwards, it's like retrospect now,
Mm-hmm.
where every argument, every decision, we know what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
And every little argument they get into, you're sitting here thinking,
It's not worth it, man.
yeah, you don't know what you're about to go through. Don't end it like this, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get to the, you know, the ending, which is the beginning, and you see her take a pregnancy test and it's positive. And you're just like, all hope in humanity is gone. You know what I mean? And it was apparently when it came out at, is it the Cannes Film Festival or Cannes? I don't never know how to pronounce that.
Mhm.
Con.
Is it Cannes? It was one of the most walked out of movies they've ever had because people were stumbling out, vomiting. People were stumbling out, yelling for, you know, like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. And it was that without knowing the context that made me want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reviews were like, this movie will affect you. And I was like, well, then I got to see this fucking thing. So when it hit DVD at the video store by me, I went and grabbed it and was just like, all right. And the thing is, it's one of the only movies I ever saw at the time where you look at the cover and it literally says, if you have a heart condition. You know, it was almost like a Surgeon General's.
And they weren't playing. That was a real.
Yeah. And it was like, holy fucking shit. By the end of that movie, I was like, I don't think I ever want to see this again.
See, where does that fall in, like, wanting to feel something in cinema versus like, let's just put in the craziest, shocking shit? Like, where's that line
I know.
blur? You
That's
know,
the thing,
Really?
because at the end,
because like we want to feel something with
You
cinema.
do.
We want to watch something and be scared or laugh or mad or, you know, whatever. No matter what it is, like, you want to feel something.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's like, do you want to feel that? Where you're just like, God damn it, I fucking again. Now it's this level and it's
right,
this level.
and
Yeah.
it just kept
It's like, you know what?
piling on.
In real life, my life sucks ass. Now I got to watch this, and this person's life sucks ass.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
This
Yeah.
isn't fun for me.
You know, to
Yeah.
your gummo point,
Yeah.
it was one where by the end of it, you almost just wanted to hug your family.
Wow.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? You're just kind of like, I am so glad you're all here. You know, because I could say the wrong thing and regret it tomorrow because, as the title suggests, it's irreversible.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to change it.
Wow.
And, you know, I wish I knew a little more about it going in. I could have braced myself, but that movie was an assault.
But wait, but do you really though?
I don't know, because it did affect me. And that's what we were going for.
Yeah.
Right?
Because see now, like with me knowing this much about it, if I watch it, I'm wondering if I would be like, okay, yeah, okay, it was gross, but whatever.
Right. It might,
Right.
So maybe you got a better feeling.
Yeah,
out of
the
it, not knowing
blind
anything.
journey
It's very
is a lot
possible.
more shocking.
I think the blind journey is,
and that's
a real
what it
payoff.
was. 'Cause
Yeah.
all I knew going in was that people were stumbling out of the tent.
And that
Like,
was the blind
fuck
journey.
that,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
For sure.
And I remember thinking, you know, I'm a horror guy. I've seen it all. How could it be that bad? And it was fucking terrible.
Yeah. Well,
You know, but it was just one of those deals where
I don't think I've ever been attacked that visceral by a film.
it's the one and only. It's the only one that ever did.
You?
I don't know.
That's a tough one, right? I
Yeah, it's a tough one.
because here's the thing. I think had it would have popped up immediately because it's that core memory.
Yeah.
There's something there, you know, like
Well, I'll tell you this much. Everyone right now, you go online, what's the most depraved? What's the most fucked up?
irreversible.
No,
Terrifier.
Serbian film.
Oh, Serbian film. Yeah.
And I'm like, because I saw Irreversible, Serbian film was just silly to me.
Mm.
I mean, it was fucked up. It's fucking sick. Yeah, no, I was
I
like,
mean, it's gross.
it's gross. And there's really no point.
No, that's what I didn't like about it.
Whereas Irreversible was like, by the end of it, you were like, oh God, cherish these moments.
Right.
You know what
right,
I mean?
right.
There was a lesson. And Serbian film, to me, I remember telling somebody, it's like being held down and someone's hanging spit over your face and then sucking it back in. I'm like, it's
Fucking disgusting.
it is.
That
And
is
it's like,
gross.
that's what I mean. It's like that movie was just there to make you squirm
I haven't seen it.
for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? And like they keep saying the movie's a political allegory and it's deeper than no, it's not. It's a movie that you
People are just superimposing that. That's their own
Yes.
thing they want to put in there.
exactly or to justify why it's a piece of art or something. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's just a fucked up movie, and it was done well enough that it ruined everyone's day and made
Yeah.
everyone toss their lunch. And
I didn't like a bit of it.
no, it's really nothing.
It was just like, why'd they even allow this?
Well, there were moments that people claim are like, oh my God, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. And I'm sitting here like, no, I just feel like it's trying too hard to be triggering.
That's exactly what it is.
You know what I mean? I'm like, there were points that people were horrified of that I kind of laughed at because I was like, oh, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like certain things would happen and I would go, seriously, dude, you know.
I think that there is a place for that, though. And here's where I think that lives. Some people need to watch shit like that to put them back into their place.
Maybe.
Because sometimes people get a little detached from reality and they don't understand like what can actually happen on this planet.
Sure.
So sometimes they do need that shit to be like...
little reality check.
And I will say that for Serbian film, I'm sure that shit goes down.
Yeah,
I don't care.
unfortunately.
I don't care how extreme it was in the movie. We've heard stories.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No. What is the basic thing?
The plot is basically this guy is a former porn star.
Okay.
Okay. He's got a wife and kid now, and he's just trying to be mainstream, putting it behind him.
Gotcha.
But bills are stacking up, and everyone just looks at him as a porn star, so he's not being hired. So he gets a call from an old porn star friend who goes, there's this guy, he's kind of an art house director, and he's making a movie. There may be nudity, whatever. He goes, but he wants you, and he's willing to pay handsomely. And he's kind of like, what's handsomely? She goes, your grandkids will go to college. That's how much money you're going to get. So he's like, you know, he goes home, mulls it over, looks at his little kid. Yeah, I'll do this for the family. This is one and done.
Okay.
Sounds like a cool setup.
Yeah, it's a good setup. But then
he's gonna leave a legacy.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Then he gets there. They shoot a couple of scenes. It's a little weird. It's a little Lynchian. It's kind of, he gets it. He's like, it's artsy, whatever. But then they start doing things that are beyond the pale, illegal, let's say. And he finally goes, I think we're done here. And the director goes, okay, yeah, you know, I'm not going to force you. Well, all of a sudden, the guy wakes up a couple of days later. Actually, we don't even know how long later.
Yeah.
He wakes up completely beaten, and he's laying amongst a bunch of tapes.
Oh.
And the second half of the movie is him reliving what he went through for the last week or two.
Oh, that he blocked out or just can't remember?
Yeah, and basically let me see. I'm trying to think of what I can get away with on this fucking show.
Yeah, this is
okay. They did a lot to him.
They did a lot.
They did things to him.
They did a lot.
It can't be undone.
I think at one point they injected him with like a horse stimulant.
Oh.
To make him like pretty much like power fuck whoever he's with, and then like handed a machete in the middle of it.
Okay, I get it.
And it just got worse and worse and worse. And as each tape progresses, and mind you, these tapes, the movie looks like Seven.
Okay.
So you're not watching it in a found footage kind of way.
Yeah.
He pops in a tape and then
you go there.
You're just watching the scene. Yeah. And from a gore and violence perspective, extremely disgusting, but it's shot so beautifully that you never once feel like you're watching August Underground or a snuff tape or whatever.
Did he get paid?
Oh, he got paid.
Oh. Yeah.
He did get paid. But then the movie ends and you're like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was definitely one that I was like, I get why people are up in arms.
Yeah.
I get why people are offended by this. I get why people are disgusted. But to me, this was just a button pusher. Whereas something like Irreversible or even Martyrs for that matter, these are extremely violent, disgusting movies with a very disturbing point to make. Serbian film was like, I wonder who's going to ban it from their country.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they were literally just trying to trigger people.
Absolutely.
To get on the map.
They were, like you said, they're pushing buttons.
Yeah.
For sure.
So to me, I watched it and was like, yeah, that's really extremely fucked up, but who cares?
I was more annoyed on how hard it was to track down and find.
Yeah.
Just for that specific reason.
That and you never knew which version you were going to get because they kept saying that this version's the uncut one. Oh, wait, no, there's one out there that's 2 or 3 minutes longer.
Yeah.
It's just,
which I think that was all part of the gimmick.
Yeah.
Probably.
I really do.
Just add to the hype.
Yeah.
They wanted you to really fight and claw for a copy of this.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, that's why I stick to the Golden Girls.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Blanche
that we know of.
Her grandkids.
That
Yeah,
we know
True.
of.
We don't know. We don't know what people's perversions are.
Exactly.
She didn't wake up
was-
with teeth missing going, what?
No, she did. They were
What
just in
did
a
I-
jar next to her bed.
With the Alka-Seltzer.
Exactly.
What did I do last night?
Oh my God. I can't believe we're going to end it on that story. What the fuck happened?
Hey, Perfect Strangers. What a funny show. Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy.
There we go. Oh my God. Well, I hope you're glad you came back.
Undecided.
We dragged him back just to make him even further from wanting to come back.
Well,
again.
maybe he'll come back and we'll do something fun.
Yeah, no, I guess now.
I don't even remember what we just talked about.
I know.
I feel like we just talked about 2 movies.
This is what happens when
We did.
we go off the leash.
Yeah, I know.
When we're untethered, we're like, I have no idea how we fucking got to this point. I apologize, sir.
Yeah, those are my favorite ones.
They are pretty funny.
You never know where it's going to go.
Exactly.
Topic roulette.
I guess until next time.
Maybe? See you guys.
I'll see you guys.